From Studio K at Foxborough Cable Access.
Saffron is essentially the stamen of a rose.
Feeling creative?
Sage has a great flavor.
Is your palate needing a new challenge? Well, let's cook with Mike DiMascio.
Hi, welcome everybody. Welcome back to Let's Cook with me, Mike DiMascio. Today we have I'm going to be creating a meal that my mother used to make for us frequently at our house. It's cheese-filled manicotti. It's going to be topped with a marinara sauce and served with a vegetable on the side, which is going to be a grilled asparagus with red pepper, red onion, and a balsamic marinade. So let's cook. First, we're going to start off with our crepes. So for the crepe recipe, we need 4 eggs, 1 cup of flour, and 3/4 cup of water. So very simple. Get our mixing bowl here. And put the eggs in the bowl. I like to put the liquid ingredients in first, and then we'll slowly add the flour. You want to make sure this crepe batter is very thin, very whipped with no lumps. So manicotti is basically a crepe, a very thin crepe. It's a very simple recipe, as you can see, just eggs, water, and flour. And we'll put a little seasoning to taste. But we're going to get this mixture nice and fluffy. So you can see, get a lot of air in there. Then we're going to slowly add the flour to the mixture. Make sure you get a nice smooth consistency. We don't want lumps. So this is something that I'm going to be making, just a small batter and a small amount of crepes, enough here for us here in the studio. Everybody likes to eat after the show. All right, just a little more. Just a little more water in here. Just going to thin this up just a little more. So this is nice and thin now. Nice and thin. A little thinner than you would make a pancake batter if you were going to be making pancakes. You want it to be nice and thin so you can get a nice thin layer on the pan. You want to lightly grease the pan to start. And after you get the first one done, as you'll see, you will not need to re-oil the pan, because the pan will be hot enough to continue cooking the rest of the crepes. I'm going to make 4 crepes to start. Always get my food gloves on. So we're going to let this pan get nice and hot here. I'm going to add a touch of my special seasoning into the batter, a little bit of flavor. And I like to add a pinch of grated cheese as well, right in with the mix. All right. So while that pan heats up, I'm going to get a pan going over here with my tomato sauce. I do have some meatballs in this sauce here. I'm just going to heat these up, get them going while we're creating the crepes. Get that sauce up to temperature with the meatballs. Now, the most difficult part of this dish is creating the crepes. They can be finicky at times. You may lose 1 or 2 along the way. That's okay. Let's see how we do here. I'm going to pour the batter right in the middle. We're going to spread it as thin as we can throughout the pan. And with this type of cooking induction, we lose power. Again, nice and thin. Ready? Oh, fail one. Come on, fire. There it is. Don't try that at home. All right, so we're gonna make 4 crepes here. Put them off to the side. Here's our first one. Crepe number 2. So in these crepes, we're going to have a nice ricotta and mozzarella filling with some fresh herbs. I have some nice fresh basil and nice fresh oregano. We're going to chop those up a little bit later. Some of the cutting techniques that we've talked about in past episodes, we're going to bring forward again. We'll be chiffonading the basil. We'll be dicing up our onion, and we'll be julienning the red pepper for our vegetable. There's crepe number 2. This way we can have 1 vegetarian plate and 1 plate for us meat eaters with the meatballs. Crepe number 3. Just a little bit of time here. But this is a very simple recipe that you can make at home. Very basic ingredients: eggs, flour, water to make these simple crepes. And we're going to be filling them with ricotta cheese and a nice Italian filling, which is more of an entree or a lunch style meal. But excuse me, you can also fill these with fruit. You can fill them with straight meat. You can do whatever you like with them. They're very light, they're very tasty, and again, they're very versatile as far as what you want to put inside of them. And we're going to make our last crepe here. Let's get the fire going. All right, that's it for our crepes. We have 4. I'll make more after to feed the crew. All right, so with that last crepe being completed, we're going to start with the filling. The filling is a very simple mixture. Again, very simple ingredients to make a very tasty meal. This is our last crepe. All right, so the first ingredient is the ricotta cheese. Right into the bowl. That's about a cup's worth of ricotta cheese. I'm going to take some of our grated cheese, about 2 tablespoons worth. And I have some nice fresh mozzarella here. I'm going to shred some of this up, put it right into the mixture. Again, probably about 2 tablespoons worth. That looks good. Right in with the mixture. Very good. Now we're going to take some of these fresh herbs and we're going to put them right into the filling here. First we'll start with the basil. And again, this is a technique that we're going to use is called chiffonade. It means ribbon in French. So you roll up the leaves. Basil is one of my favorite herbs. I think it adds a lot of great flavor, and it's best, I like it best raw. A lot of people will cook it in with their meals. I like to add it at the very end to get the most flavor out of it. And this is nice fresh oregano. Just going to rough chop this into the mixture as well. All right. And we're just going to mix this right in there. Let's take that crepe off. Very good. Okay, so we have our 4 crepes ready. Now we're just going to fold all these ingredients in together. Make a nice, rich filling for these crepes. Now there's, again, different variations you can add to this. You can put in some meat. I'm actually going to add a little bit of tomato sauce here. It just gives it a little bit more flavor. Here's my crepe. I'd like to use another spoon here. Just a tablespoon of tomato sauce. Just adds a little bit of flavor to the stuffing mixture. It's beautiful. All right. And we're just going to set these aside. So already, just been about 5-7 minutes here, and we already have our manicotti ready to be finished in just a few minutes, but we're going to go and move forward with our vegetable side dish that we're going to prepare along with it. So I'm going to put these aside with the crepes. All right. So very simple, excuse me, very simple vegetable we're using today. It's a, we're going to do balsamic grilled asparagus with some red pepper strips and some diced red onion. Again, nice and colorful. As you can see, the crepes are very plain, very plain in color. They are just a basic white. The filling's basic white. So now we want to add some pop to the table, to the presentation. So we're going to take these red pepper strips, nice julienne strips. Set that aside. And again, I like to have different dimensions of the on the plate. So if I cut one thing in a strip, I'd like to cut something else in a different shape. So we're going to cut the onions and we're going to make them into cubes, little 1/4-inch cuts. Again, very nice. It's going to be very colorful. And then we have the asparagus. Now when you buy the asparagus, it comes a lot longer. I took about 2 inches off the bottom to get away from that wood grainy and tough part of the asparagus. Obviously the best is the top part, but you also get a lot of great nutrition and a lot of great flavor out of the middle of the asparagus as well. So what we're going to do here, again, I like to add, instead of just making a straight cut here, I like to just do it on the bias, a few of them at a time. Again, just gives them a different look for the presentation, for the final presentation. It is called Culinary Arts, so we like to be creative as possible with our food. And again, little simple changes, little simple additions to the meals you're creating. It makes it look like you've spent hours on it, when you really, as you'll see by the end of this show, in just 20-25 minutes, you can create a dish that's again, looks like you spent all day doing it. All right, so we're going to take these. We're going to take all these vegetables, put them into a bowl. Add some seasoning here. I got my special seasoning. I can't tell you the secret. And some balsamic vinegar. About a teaspoon's worth. And same amount of olive oil. Very nice. Just mix them up. Very good. Got my FCA towel here. Very nice. We're just going to put these right on the grill. Watch them sizzle away. Let that aroma fill the room. Delicious. Okay. Moving right along. So we have the vegetables stewing. We have our tomato sauce here. So the tomato sauce, this is a homemade sauce I make at home. I like to use crushed tomatoes. I use fresh herbs in it. And, you know, again, very basic. I don't use any vegetables other than garlic, but everything else is done with fresh herbs. I use fresh basil, fresh oregano in my tomato sauce. Very basic, just to get the true flavor of the tomato with the hint of the nice fresh herbs that go along with it. I also brought along some meatballs that I make at home. Very simple. A lot of people like to use pork or turkey with their meatballs. They add it with the meat. Those two meats are very dry, so they dry out your meat a lot. I like pure meat, pure ground beef. I like to use 88% or better so that you get all the moisture. Excuse me. I also add ricotta cheese to my meatballs. It helps hold them, keep them moist. So when I'm making the meatballs, it's the ground beef. I use 1 egg per pound. I use about a ½ cup of ricotta in the pound of meatball, some grated cheese, and again, some fresh herbs. I don't add any chunks of onions. I know a lot of people like to add chunks of onions, chunks of pepper, but again, I like the pure basic flavor of the ground beef with the fresh herbs and topped with a nice fresh tomato sauce. Keeps everything natural and very tasty, and we let the vegetables have their role on the side to complement the meal rather than in with the meats. I like to have everything be tasted individually. All right, so over here I have my tomato sauce warming up. Meatballs coming to temperature. Just going to crank this up a little bit. Another thing I want you to recognize is that I'm doing all these meals on equipment that you won't find at your home, because you either have an electric grill, which is what I'm working at, but they won't shut off every time you lift the pan up, and an electric skillet. So even with these pieces of equipment, you can really do nice stuff, healthy stuff, or what we're having today isn't so healthy with all the cheese. But you can make, you can create a meal with minimal cooking equipment. So let's get to the filling of our crepes here. All right, so I have 4 beautiful thin crepes that we made. They've cooled down nicely. And we have our filling. So this is the easy part. Put about 2 tablespoons worth of filling on each crepe. All right. And you're just going to roll them up. Very simple. Now again, there's a few ways that you can heat these up. You could put them in a pan, throw them in an oven. We don't have that luxury here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put them on the stove, on the electric griddle here. And we're just going to heat them. You can hear them sizzle. Here we go. All right, we're going to let those sear on both sides. We'll flip them over in just a few minutes. We'll check our vegetables here. Seem to be coming great. Smell great. Can you smell it out there in TV land? No? Someday we'll have smell-o-vision. You can see this nice fresh vegetables, you know, add a lot of color, really healthy for you. I mean, we, you know, it's spring, so this is the time of year to start using fresh vegetables. Keep away from the freezer aisle. Go to the fresh produce section in your supermarket. Take the extra time to prepare and clean your vegetables. There's nothing better than fresh vegetables. I never used to like vegetables. It was probably into my 20s where I actually tried asparagus for the first time, and now it's my second favorite vegetable. I love Brussels sprouts. They are my #1. As bitter as they are, Brussels sprouts very easy. Add a little lemon juice and garlic. Cook them in a pan. Delicious, delicious. All right, so back to our crepes. So we're heating them up on both sides here. Just a few minutes. Sauce is heating nicely. Meatballs coming up to temp. All right. So while we have a few minutes, I'd like to go over what I was talking earlier about a few of the cuts that you can have, you can make in the kitchen to make things. Again, you want to keep things uniform, but not uniform, as I showed here. So these asparagus, it's called cut on the bias. It's just basically an angle cut. Again, just looks a little different than if you're making a flat cut. From a straight cut to a little bit of an angle, just makes it a little more interesting of a look. We also did a dice or brunoise for these. would be considered a large brunoise. There's also smaller as you go. The smaller you make them. In some recipes, they do call for a brunoise that could be that small. All right. So recipes can be very particular in how they want things to be cut. And then we have a julienne cut. Julienne is just thin strips. So again, you can have different size strips, different sizes of julienne. You can also make them a little thicker. So when you, if you have a crudité, right, vegetable platter, you probably want your vegetable this thick. If you're doing some sort of a stir fry, you want your vegetable to be a little thinner so it's a nice quick cook and heats up quickly. Stir fry is supposed to be a fast cook, quick, high flame, high fire, high heat to cook the vegetables fast, sear in all the flavor, and take it right off the stove. All right, so we are ready to pan up and plate up our dish here. All right, we have these beautiful crepes filled with a nice ricotta filling, ready to go. We have our tomato sauce with meatballs warming nicely in our pan here on top of our electric skillet. The vegetables are grilling beautifully. Love the smell of fresh vegetables. I feel like we need a glass of wine here. This stuff's looking good. So I'll get my plates. All right, so we're going to have 2 plates here. So the first thing we're going to do is that's good TV right there. Okay. Take a little bit of a dollop. Oh, make a mess. Right on the plate. I'll do this one better. Okay. All right, we're going to take our crepes. Again, placement is always good. Don't want to just plop things onto the plate. A little bit of care, a little bit of effort makes the final presentation nice. Top it again with some tomato sauce. Okay. Now we're going to go back to the basil because I love basil. Another chiffonade cut. You can see I'm taking the big leaves, just rolling them up, very easy. Cutting them as thin as you can get them without losing a finger. Aside. Take our vegetables. Very nice presentation with the vegetables. Delicious dish. And for our meat lovers, never enough cheese. Let me clear out some space here. Give these plates their due. And there we have ricotta stuffed manicotti with grilled asparagus, red pepper, red onion, and a balsamic glaze, served with meatballs or not, topped with some basil, fresh tomato sauce, and grated Parmesan cheese. So that is our meal for the day. Did I make enough time? Very good. All right. So I want to let you know that I do have a catering company called In Your House Catering. I like to do parties from 5 to 50 people, typically at people's houses. I come to your house, create meals like this right in front of you. I can also do at the same time a demo for you while we're creating the meal. It's great for parties and stuff like that. The phone numbers are 508-667-8879. If you're interested, you can give me a call. My name is Mike, as you know. This has been Let's Cook with Mike DiMascio. Thanks for coming in. Enjoy your lunch.